Okay, so here's where we get into the interesting ones. Hey everyone, I'm Rod and Todd, and this is a review of Transformers Legacy Deluxe Prime Universe Arcee. So, something interesting about Legacy is that they're not just doing Generation 1 guys, they're trying to move on to characters outside of the G1 universe. And so far, the results have been a mixed bag. I'd say guys like Generation 2, Laser Prime, and Cybertron Override have been stellar, and they've been knocking it out of the park with those guys, at least aesthetically anyway. However, it's with the Prime guys that a lot of people take issue with. You see, for the Transformers Prime characters, they decided to, I guess, put them through a Generation 1 filter so that they're more blocky and whatnot, but they still tried to make you think it's the Prime guys. So we're starting with Arcee. There were two Prime characters released in Wave 1, Arcee and then Bulkhead, which Bulkhead is the one I take greater issue with. I think Arcee is the one who suffers the least from this design thing. And the primary reason I take issue with it is because Transformers Prime is the cartoon I grew up with as a kid. It's the one I have the most fond memories of, and it is the best Transformers cartoon. Animated is a close second, so for those of you getting mad because I don't like animated as much, I still think it's really good. The Prime is just better. And so, as a kid, I actually had all the Prime toys, which means I actually have something personal with this. So here's the Arcee toy I had as a kid. I really only had the money for the little Cyberverse guys when I was younger. But here's the Arcee toy I had as a kid, so I figured we could do a cool little comparison. So as you can see, Arcee transforms to a blue motorbike. There's some stylistic differences. You can see the new one here has kind of a different front end than the old one. You can see the new one kind of has a different front than the old one here. But at the end of the day, it is still a blue motorbike, and I think it honestly does look pretty good. Sure, you can kind of clearly see where all the robot mode limbs kind of fold up there, but in the end, I think it does work. I honestly think it does look very good. It even has a little kickstand right there, which you can fold up there, which is nice. Except for whatever reason, today's the one day I can't get it to work. Okay, there we go. So yeah, it has this cool little kickstand there. Studio Series Wreck-Gar kind of did something similar. I think it works better, if I'm being honest, but granted, Studio Series Wreck-Gar is an absolutely gigantic bike. I mean, that's the thing with the Transformers bikes. Unless they're like the size of Arcee here, this one, they're not going to be in scale with everyone else. So, yeah. However, I do think this is a pretty good motorbike mode. Wheels spin very well. I mean, this one doesn't want to, apparently. This front one, oh yeah. Into the way it transforms, there's even a bit of steering in there, which is nice. Kind of get some cool, I guess, I don't know, fun with the kickstand here. Kind of get some cool, like, steering poses out of it. I don't know. And of course, everyone talks about this. You can mount the weapons there. However, that just makes it look really strange. But there you go. So anyway, I do think this is a really great motorbike mode, if I'm being honest. Yeah, at the end of the day, it is just kind of the robot folding up, but I mean, yeah, isn't that what every Transformer is? But I mean, yeah, obviously you can see like the arms here and the legs go there. But still, I do think it looks really great for a motorbike Transformer. So anyway, let's get this transformed, shall we? So I'm going to want to pull up the kickstand first off. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to unpeg these two tabs, and you can remove this. However, I found it's possible to transform without doing that, but just for the sake of, I know it's going to pop off during a transformation, I'm going to set it aside. So you're going to want to I get it. You separate the back wheel, and then they just kind of fold up like that. The whole side assembly folds out there, and then the legs fold out, and then fold back. This part separates, and then I'm going to fold that whole assembly back, fold out this little back piece, or fold that up, rotate this around. This piece folds up and clicks into place. Rotate the thighs around, flip out the feet. Then this whole thing, rotate. I kind of like to rotate it around over. There's a variety of ways you can do it. And then pull the arms down. And probably my favorite part of the transformation, just these little sliding panels that reveal the arms, or the hands. Then you take this whole thing here and you just take it back on, if I can get it. And there you go. I think this transformation works better when you're going from vehicle to robot. Robot to vehicle is definitely a nightmare. So anyway, since we're doing comparisons, let's get the Arcee from when I was a kid and get that transformed. It takes like 2 seconds. Let's see, there is one plus this new one has over the one I had when I was a kid, is that this one's really, really old, so the joints are really loose on this one, you can see there. But yeah, adorable little thing. I miss the old Legends class, guys. Like, and core class has kind of been like this, but at the same time, it just doesn't do it for me. I think core class guys are just too complicated to really rekindle that spirit of nostalgia that I have for these little guys. But anyways, you can see there is kind of a drastic design difference. I think they got the head pretty good. The chest plate is a bit different. And of course, you can see the wheels just kind of sit there on the side of the legs. I'm not really a big fan of. They'd found a way to make it fold into like the back of the legs itself. I'd be a lot more fine with it. But you know, whatever. Let's just talk articulation. So she has bones at the head, so she can move it left and right and up and down. Universal joint at the shoulders, move her out and all the way around. Bend at the elbow, swivel at the elbow, and she has a wrist swivel. You'd think someone like this would not have one. That's really nice. She has a waist swivel, sort of. It's kind of limited. Universal joint at the hip, so she can move her arm or her leg out, forward, and back. Bend at the knee, and swivel at the ankle, or tilt at the ankle. So she has a good amount of articulation. Like, honestly, there aren't really very many deluxe class figures in Wave 1 who have a wrist swivel, so it's nice that Arcee gets one. So, I guess we need to talk the backpack. So, yeah. So, of course, Prime Arcee is known for having these big wings on her back. So, I kind of like to leave it like this, as just kind of a way to emulate that. However, something interesting is that the front wheel is removable, and it can split in half. Which I do like how the inside of that is painted. I think that looks really nice. And if you want to give this to her as like a weird crossbow looking thing, I always thought that with this little chute and with the little spinny wheels, it kind of looked like an automatic tennis ball launcher. Or of course, you can do the thing Hasbro wants you to do here. If I can figure out how to actually do this, I think let me just remove this. I don't know how you're supposed to actually do this. I'm assuming this is it, but yeah, you're supposed to put them on the back like this, and it's supposed to look like Generation 2 Road Rocket, which they did retool them into. And now that the Velocitron guys are out, I'm on the fence about buying Road Rocket. I think it looks really nice. I think this mold looks good in red. The new head they gave it looks really good. At the same time, meh. I don't know. I just prefer to leave it with the wheel closed up and with it on her back. I think that's how it was in the cartoon, so that's just kind of how I decided to do it. I was going to figure out how to fold this back. But yes, this is parts forming. However, I do believe you can transform it without it being removed. So for those of you people who absolutely despise Earthrise Cliff Jumper, there you go. Now, she does have two accessories. You kind of saw them in vehicle mode, but here they are again. They're the Energon weapons that have kind of been a staple throughout Legacy. She has these two blue thingies. You can mount them on her arms, and that kind of emulates the arm blades she had in the show, which is nice. However, you can also combine them together to form like a shield-looking thingy. There's also a sculpting, you can see that there, of like a ninja star. And something I do like about the new Road Rocket guys is that they actually painted this sculpting in the middle to make it look more like an actual shuriken. So you can mount this on her arm as like a shield or something. I've never really been a big fan of shields on Transformers because they're big beings of metal. What use would a Transformer need for a shield, really? So I just kind of prefer to leave them on her arms because she had the little arm blades in the show, and I feel like that just makes more sense. So yeah, every other figure I've covered with a clear weapon, they've had some sort of other weapon I can display them with. This one, those are the only accessories. It's not like I particularly mind, it's just that, yeah, this doesn't look too particularly good because they're just big half circles jutting out from her arms. So, here's where we get to the part that has everybody talking, the whole G1ification of the figure. I think Arcee is the one that suffers the least so far, of all the Prime guys that have been either revealed or out. I think Knockout is fine looking. I think the vehicle mode looks really great, but the robot mode, it's just all on the chest plate. And then Bulkhead, well, we'll get the Bulkhead. But I think Arcee suffers the least. I think the head looks spot on. In the robot mode itself, I honestly don't think looks that bad. Comparing her to the one I had as a kid, you can kind of see where the design is coming from. You can see there's a big silver knee pads, there's the wings on the back, sort of. As I said, the head sculpt looks really great. The chest plate is kind of where it differs the most, if I'm being honest. However, I still think it looks really good for the overall robot mode aesthetic. So if I'm being perfectly honest, I think this figure is pretty good. I initially shied away from the Prime guys just because I didn't like the way they looked. However, I decided to pick them both up, and I really liked both of them as figures. I'd say if you're looking for like a definitive Transformers Prime toy, you're probably better off going with the first edition guys from way back then. However, if you just want a really good Transformers action figure, then you should pick them up. They're honestly not bad. Since they're big shelf warmers, you should have no problem finding them. So that's my review of Prime Arcee. A figure that it may be aesthetically kind of jank to a few people. However, at the end of the day, I don't think she's that bad. She has a really nice range of articulation. She looks pretty good. The transformation's nice. And the bike mode is just really smooth looking. So, overall, good figure. I say you should pick it up. So with all that being said, we're going to keep the Prime train rolling and review Bulkhead in the next review, so stay tuned for that. So with all that being said, thanks for watching, and this has been Rod and Todd signing off.